Very nice evening, everyone. Welcome all. I am Thales Andrade and with Pupilinho.
How's it going, my man? It's always good to do a podcast in English.
It's always good to hear you speak in English.
Oh,
isn't it?
thank you so much. I'm trying to get used to it.
Oh, I
It's
like
much
it.
more natural for me now, but yeah,
Nah.
it's kind of strange.
This episode is number 220, and tonight we are receiving Leon Diop.
That's right.
I say it right.
Perfect. 10 out of 10.
Thank you so much, man, for coming. It's our honor to have you here. Before we start, let me just talk with you. That's if you're first time coming to here, let me explain what Talkeando is. Talkeando is a podcast, is a conversation. We are here every Tuesday and Thursday with a different guest, to talk about life, about what goes in the goals that we have in our life, and to make you move out your comfort zone and change your life. I'm saying that because everyone that came here, move out of your comfort zone, did something nice and change their life, and came here to tell the same story for make you change your life as well. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe now. I forgot the name. Turn on the notifications to don't lose any videos of us, and like this video. So, and don't forget to follow our social media. Our names are TalkeandoPodcast instead of unless Twitter. We are just TalkeandoPod. Yeah. So this live is me live streaming on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn. What else? And Twitch. But if you want to send a message or ask any questions to Leon, just go to the live chat of YouTube, because by the end of this episode, we're going to answer every message and every questions. But if you want to participate of this episode, send us a super chat. So Pupilinho, we're going to stop us and tell you a message, and gonna turn a subject of this conversation.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
I've never done something like this before. This is so
Really?
cool. Yeah. This is brilliant.
Yeah. If you have any questions or message, live chat of YouTube. But if you want to participate of this conversation, super chat. I would like to thank our sponsors. We just have one sponsor to say. We just have Fato Pervoy, European citizenship. The European citizenship. Like if you have some descendants from Italy, Spain, Poland, what else? And Portugal. Portugal. Fato Pervoy can help you since the research of the documents until you got your passport in your hand. So to change your life and have the Europe open for you, and maybe talk with us here on Dublin, Fato Pervoy can help you to achieve your goal. And that's all. We can start now.
Yeah.
Let's get to it.
Yeah. So our guest today, he's an award-winning author. He's Black and Irish, and also a podcaster. Welcome, Leon. Thank you so much
for having me.
Thanks for coming. Thanks so much for coming, man.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, many people from the World Black Culture was telling me to invite you.
I love World Black Culture.
Even my girlfriend, he's a big fan.
Oh yeah. No, I know your girlfriend from when I was working back in the day. Like that's so cool.
Yeah, how are you, man?
I'm good. Weeks? Yeah, grand. It's been a crazy couple of weeks actually. It's been a little bit different to my usual kind of routine and schedule and stuff. I quit my job.
Really?
My day-to-day job. I was working in events, and I decided it was time for a change, so I just quit.
What are you doing now?
I don't know.
Yeah, because you were telling me that Black and Irish are gonna looking for a new office.
Yeah. So Black and Irish is something that I do. So what I saw myself as was working 2 full-time jobs. So Black and Irish is full-time.
Wow.
It's like it never stops. 24/7. But I like any money that we receive into Black and Irish, I put back into projects. I put back into events, initiatives, campaigns, whatever. So I haven't taken a salary. I actually, to this day, haven't taken €1 out of Black and Irish. So I was working a job separate to that, and going about my my day today in my normal job. But it was just getting too heavy, so I decided it was time to, take that leap of faith and just go for it. So that's what I'm doing now.
Cool, man. Because the first time I heard about you, I thought that Black Irish was your nickname.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't suppose that it would be like.
It's an organization.
It's a business, organization.
Yeah.
How did you start with the Black Irish? Whoa.
God, yeah. So I started in June of 2020, just after the death of George Floyd. So so George Floyd was killed on the 25th of May. We all remember it.
Police,
yeah. And we saw this video going around the world, and what it did was it kicked off a movement because everyone was talking about anti-black racism and how anti-black racism presents itself and different forms of racism and stuff like that. But it was very focused on the United States and how racism presents itself in the United States, and it's very different to how racism presents itself in Ireland, and it's very different. The black experience in America is very different to the black experience in Ireland. So we decided to bring an Irish focus to the black experience. So we started the Black and Irish Instagram, and that was strange because within a week we had about 20,000 followers. So that showed in a week. Yeah, it was crazy because what was happening was many Black and Irish people were reaching out to share their story and to talk about what it was like, but also many people were beginning to listen. Many people were saying, okay, now it's time for me to listen to the experiences of others, and it was able to build a lot of empathy and a lot of goodwill within the Irish public. And very quickly then, we were sharing a lot of stories, we were gaining a lot of followers, but we saw that it wasn't just enough to share stories, because we were taking people's stories, we were sharing them and putting them out in a way, and it was like, okay, thank you, all right, bye. But what we were seeing in the stories was that people were struggling in school, people were struggling obtaining work, moving up through their business. They were struggling with being a creative and having their work mainstreamed and seen in a kind of mainstream audience. So that for us was something that we were able to sit down and from all the stories we were able to say, okay, these are some of the issues affecting our community. Let's go and work on them. Let's build an organization around ourselves. So we started an organization and we began working on these things. We started running projects. We were going into schools, giving talks. We were working with teachers. We were doing work on the school's curriculum to make sure that people were learning up-to-date and relevant material. And this was all stuff that was, happening so quick that you don't take a breath and realize what you're actually doing. And from then we had RTE, which is our national broadcaster, reached out to us and said, we like what you're doing. Is there any kind of crossover here as to what we can do? So we said, yeah, okay, maybe what we're doing is we're wanting to tell stories and share narratives and own our own narrative. So we tell our story. So we created the Black and Irish podcast, and what that does is it's just conversations, kind of similar to what we're having here, just about the kind of Black and Irish experience, what it's like, what are some of the issues. We're very solutions focused as well. We see that there are times where people can get very bogged down in an issue, and they can say, well, this is a problem, and and not say, okay, well, how are we going to fix it? How are we going to bring a solution? How are we going to change this? So that was something that we really wanted to do, and that's ultimately how Black and Irish came about.
Amazing. But beside that, I have another question, because you are from Dublin.
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot to mention he's from Dublin. And how is to be a black person in Ireland?
Yeah.
Since we were born, how is to grow in a white country like Ireland?
It's a bit strange. Because we there's not a whole lot of history of black people in Ireland. There are some very kind of high profile figures, like the likes of Paul McGrath and Phil Lynott, very famous footballers or very famous musicians, but it's still relatively low. I was born in 1994. I'm giving away my age. I'm 29. But
I'm 6 years older than you. So.
Oh, okay. Well, you see, I look 6 years older than you.
Maybe the beard.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, the stress. So, growing up as a black Irish person was interesting because, see, I'm mixed race. So my dad is from Senegal, my mom is white Irish. My dad was Muslim, my mom's Catholic. So
Damn.
very mixed household. I was like, half the time I didn't know what I was doing. Am I supposed to pray now? Am I supposed to eat? What am I supposed to do?
Do you have a religion?
I'm Catholic because unfortunately my father like passed away when I was really young. So I was disconnected. No, it's okay. But I was disconnected from my African heritage from quite a young age. So I grew up with mixed race kind of skin complexion in a predominantly white household. So that was kind of strange. But like growing up, I would still have a lot of influences. Now, like I suppose my father was involved in my life until I was 16, but he moved to France when I was like 12. And then he wasn't living with my mom since I was like 6. So, yeah, as I said, I was disconnected from that. So I saw myself as different to white kids and black kids. Like I'd come home to my mom and say, oh, mom, there's like a couple of black kids in my class. There's loads of white kids, but I'm the only brown kid. So I was differentiating myself very quickly. And I think that is a commonality of what we've seen in the mixed race community. That is different to how a person with 2 black parents might perceive Ireland or might live in Ireland, you know. But ultimately, overall, it was a positive experience. You know, it was like, you know, I was relatively safe. I grew up in an area called Tala, which...
Sorry, but Tala was safe at the time.
Yeah, I mean, Tala has a reputation for being a rougher area than most. You know, like there's parts of Tala that are very high levels of deprivation at the moment. Like one area of Tala called Killinarden is the 9th most deprived area in Ireland. So you know there are very high levels of deprivation. There's high levels of you know poverty. There was much higher levels of crime, and you know crime levels aren't fantastic. Well, you know there is concerns with drugs and issues with drugs and stuff like that. So I grew up in an area surrounded by that, and as I grew older and older, more diversity started to come into the area. Like when I was very young, diversity wasn't as high as it was maybe when I was 10. You know, so. I was able to make friends from different cultures and different kind of perspectives, like from Somalia, from Democratic Republic of Congo, from Nigeria, from Angola, from Ireland, obviously. And overall, my experience is positive. Now, I did have some experiences with racism. And when I was younger, I would have had a lot of kind of very overt forms of racism, which is, you know, being called slurs, being attacked, various pieces like that. So, yeah. You know that is a very common experience for the majority of young people of color in Ireland. That is the you know common experience that you will at some point experience some form of overt racism. Most of the time, it is just you know being called a silly name or something like that. You know, obviously that can still have very high impact on you, but at times it can show itself in different ways. So, you know, going from that age group and growing up in Tala, I can come back to this in a few minutes. But there was a lot of kind of intersection with class in because I was coming from, for a period of my life, I was coming from a 1-parent home, where we kind of struggled financially and stuff like that. That led to me getting involved with people that I shouldn't get involved with, et cetera, et cetera. But anyways, you know, I was able to get myself out of that environment and out of Tala. And now I love Tala. I think Tala is a fantastic area, but at the time it wasn't good. It wasn't a good environment for me because of certain things that I was doing. And I went to study psychology in Maynooth University. And while I was there, that's where I had some experiences that were a little bit different to overt forms of racism. So that's where I began to see things like covert racism, which is racism that can hide itself. You know, so I'd walk into a shop and I'd get followed by security guards. I would try and rent a house and I'd be told no for no reason, even though the house is available. That they on the phone, because obviously when I talk, they don't think I'm a black guy. They just hear Leon. Yeah, no worries. You can come down and check out the house tomorrow. And then I come down to the house and they're like, oh, okay, no, we didn't think you looked like this. So no, they don't say that.
Okay, but you feel...
No, they actually did. One person did say it once. They said that a house that I was trying to rent was not suitable for people of African origin. Right?
Really?
Crazy stuff. Absolutely crazy. Because that now, at the time, I didn't know where to bring this to, who to talk to about it. If I did talk to someone about it, what would I even say? You know, because we could bring Gardaí or police to the door, and that person would say, "I didn't say that." you know, that's what covert racism is. It's able to hide itself. It's able to hide behind the wall. Well, I'm just doing my job. You know, and different things like that. So, yeah, that was you know, my experience in college. Well, some of my experiences in college, but overall, my experience in college was quite positive. It didn't stop me from doing what I wanted to do. I wanted to socialize. I wanted to make friends. I became the student president for 2 years.
Wow.
That was a full-time job. So, you know, I enjoyed it. Like, it was fun. And then I went out into the big bad working world. You know, and ultimately what I found is that, like, I work in recruitment, and I did work in recruitment, and I put a focus on making sure that we had diverse people coming into our workspaces. But there's a lot of recruiters that aren't like that. You know, that they don't care. If they can't pronounce a name, they're not going to bring them forward. So for me, it was important that we were highlighting, you know, issues that people can face, you know, especially now in Black and Irish, and the work that we do with businesses and stuff. It's important that we talk about this type of stuff, you know. And I think I did find that, because I found that I was doing a lot of good work, that I was, you know, I was able to come in, like, whenever I would go into an interview, I was fine. I was able to get a job, but it's getting an interview is the problem. Because when people see the CV, they see, oh, no, you know, and they just push it aside, you know. So I think those are some of the kind of issues that I've seen as, you know, a black person growing up in Ireland. Now, there's a lot of positives, you know. It's cool to be able to relate to different heritages and different cultures, and you know, being able to celebrate them, you know. But I think, again, before I was able to get to that point, I had a little bit of an identity crisis in terms of I didn't know where I fit in the world, you know. I didn't know whether I fit in with the black community or with the white community, and ultimately I picture it like a tug of war in my head. Yeah. And ultimately what I needed to do was not pick a side and try and pull myself over to that side. I needed to walk up with a big pair of scissors and cut it and say, I belong in both, you know, and that I'm able to celebrate both sides of my heritage and enjoy it. So yeah, that's a little bit about my growing up. I kind of talked a little bit more about my struggle than you know, the good things, but there was a lot of good in my life as well. You know, from, you know, being able to study psychology to being student president to working some you know, wonderful jobs and being able to help people, and then starting Black and Irish, you know, and being able to use something that was used against me for a really long time turn that into something that's good for others and helping others, you know.
But when you were interviewing people in the Black Irish podcast, what was the most like thing they are complaining about, the racism or the things they are against them?
Yeah. I think the most problematic thing at the moment is that experience for young people and facing and still facing, you know, being called slurs. And there's many people that are still, you know, on the streets of Dublin who are just going about doing their job, and they have people that are shouting things at them that's ridiculous. Now, it's not all the time, it's not everywhere, but it can happen, you know. So I think that again, that form of racism is very impactful. You know, when you're going about your day and then all of a sudden someone is shouting something at you and you're like, I'm just trying to get on with my day, you know. But there was a report that was released by the Fundamental Rights Agency it's a group based in Europe, and it spoke about the different you know, levels of racism in European state countries, and it showed that Ireland is quite high on that list in terms of people experiencing discrimination, and unfortunately it is present in our schools, and that for me is a killer, because, you know, I'm a big advocate for children and for children to be able to develop and grow and thrive. That's very important for me. So big things for me is that I don't think there should be I don't think anyone should be in poverty, but especially children. We should not have any children in poverty. Children should be educated.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They should be able to receive an education that will help them in life. And education is important because it's not just giving you academic skills, but it's also giving you skills for life. It's also giving it's making you a more well-rounded person. And I think all children should be given the opportunity to grow socially as well, to get to understand people from different cultures, to be able to make friends from different countries, like Brazil or Nigeria or Cameroon or wherever it is, So that for me is important. So our work with schools and making sure that schools are we want to make schools racism-free zones. If there was one place in Ireland that I would say, or that I could snap my fingers and say there's no racism ever happening in these places again, it would be schools, because of the impact that it has and the psychological impact that it'll have on people as they grow older. So yeah, that would be the kind of main thing that we would talk about. We talk about education a lot.
Okay. I see from myself when I was a child, like, because school is kind of a bully environment, like everyone make jokes with everyone.
Yeah.
But like, I think they just use the thing that we are black, like, to offend us with this, and what make it like even worse,
Yeah.
But I think it's a hard work, like, to educate those people because they get it from their parents.
Yeah.
Also, I remember, like, even my parents, like, we used to make some jokes when I was young, But then after year by year, it became dangerous. It became dangerous, because maybe one time, like, we are arguing with somebody, we just, like, say something like very racism, but not because the person is a racist, but because he's used to have this kind of jokes.
Yeah. Yeah, and he wants to use it against you. Yeah.
So I think the first step would be, like, teach them how to joke well.
How to argue without being racist.
Don't be racist. Like, don't offend anyone, like, it's pretty hard,
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to make sure that people are understanding the impact that type of stuff is having, and as children, we can often hear stuff that our parents and adults are saying around us, and you're right, when no child is born with hatred towards someone else. It's developed, it's learned from the people that they're seeing above them. So that's, whenever I see a child engaging in that type of behavior, it's very evident to me that they're seeing that behavior in the home, or in an environment that's that they're growing up in. It might not be their actual parents, it might be grandparents, or it might be guardians, or whatever it is. So that for me is something that's really important. We need to educate the kids. We also need to educate the adults. Yeah,
principally the adults.
Yeah, definitely. So that's why we put out a lot of kind of content and messaging on that type of stuff as well.
Yeah, but when you start meeting other guys from Africa or with parents of Africa, how was the conversation with them like? Because there was a time you didn't recognize for both sides, but when you start talking with them, like, and you were having like your dad from Senegal, like, how was the conversation with them? Like, what was in your head?
I felt a little bit more included.
Okay.
A lot of the time, but I was still subject to similar jokes that I wasn't really one of them. So when I hung around with kind of white groups and stuff like that, right up actually into my college years, I would see things like, oh yeah, but you're black, Leon, so you're able to do this, or you're not able to do that, or whatever stereotype is that flavor of that day or whatever. So, but very similarly, because I didn't speak the same language as a lot of the guys that I was hanging around with that were black, because I didn't understand the cultural kind of norms, because I wasn't maybe as dark of a complexion, I was the white boy. Okay. So on both sides, on the white kids, on the black boy, on the black side, on the white boy, so they were from the Democratic Republic of Congo, so they spoke Lingala. So it was Mundele is the word. Do you know what I mean? That I get called that a lot. Not just by my friends, but by my friends' parents as well. You know, so I was seeing I was seeing it happen, and they would be talking about me, and I'd hear that word because my friends were saying it to me as well. I mean, damn, even their parents are saying it. So for me, it was difficult, because you're struggling a little bit like with that, but I very quickly found that I need to do something, because I was driving myself insane. I was letting other people determine how I saw myself. I was allowing other people's kind of opinions and thoughts and words and jokes to affect how I viewed myself, which was the most dangerous thing that could happen. Because what would happen then is I would begin to act differently to how I would normally act when I'm around them in order to fit in with them.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So I'd talk differently, I'd act differently. I want to be the man, the macho man and stuff like that. And it's just completely against my nature. Do you know what I mean? Like, I grew up in a household where I was consistently shown love. I was people worked very, very hard for me to be able to do what I was doing, whether it was that was being in school or having a good Christmas or getting to college. People worked really, really hard for that, and never showed me any form of hatred or any form of annoyance or like anything like that, So it was a disservice to the people that were raising me for me to act like that, for me to be aggressive with others, for me to engage in not positive behaviors and stuff like that, So that was something that I really needed to work on, and I did work on. How I dealt with it, and this is going to sound really corny, but how I dealt with it was I wrote everything down on a piece of paper one day, and I remember writing the words like white kids think I'm black kids think I'm white, I don't fit in anywhere, la 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 la, saying all these all the negative things that I would say to myself, right? And I walked out my back garden and I burned it. I set it on fire and I just threw it.
That's a good thing to do.
No, that's it. For me, it was like, I'm setting myself free from this. I'm not allowing this.
Amazing.
Crap. I don't know if we're allowed to curse on this.
No.
But I'm not going to let this, crap determine me. Do you know what I mean? And from that, I was able to become a lot more comfortable in in myself, in my heritage. When people would make a joke, I wouldn't give the same response. I wouldn't, it wasn't hurting me. So I didn't show it on my face that it was hurting me. I didn't show it in my actions or my behaviors or anything like that. And that obviously took a toll, because then people were like, oh, well, it doesn't affect them anymore, so we need to say something else. So we say he has a big nose. Do you know what I mean? And then that became the new thing, So kids can be very harsh, obviously, when they're growing up. And that often the kids are, I see it now, that the kids that are most harsh are often the kids that had harsh things done to them, or had parents that were very harsh with them and stuff like that. So for me, it's important to always just, be kind, be respectful. You don't know what people are going through. When you're walking down the street and you see someone having a bad day and they're, effing and blinding and they're shouting and roaring, like, you don't know the crap that they could be going through or that they've gone through in their life. So, it's important to, I suppose, always just give people the benefit of the doubt and show them, kindness and respect.
But how was your head when you go to the psychologist, to start knowing yourself, and be like, I'm not the person that they are saying, and then you burn the paper, that thing was amazing, man. We should do this when people say that thing to us.
Yeah, it's a way to get free from it.
Yeah. No, and that's it. And it will make you feel free from it. And I'd recommend that anyone that is struggling with something, that it's if there's something that's weighing constantly on your mind and it's holding you down or making you feel down, just write it down and burn it. And that, look, that might not make the thing necessarily go away, but it's about having a mental, a mindset towards it, that you're not going to let it determine you. You're not going to let it determine how you act or behave, or treat others or anything like that. So that's why it's so important. Because
for me, this start being dangerous when we start believing what they're saying, that we are but we don't. Damn, that's. Wow, I really like it. Yeah, I would say that to my kids when I have one. If someone say bad things to you and don't believe it, just write it down and burn it. Wow, man.
Yeah. So that was my experience. And like from there, that I didn't realize it at the time, but that gave me the platform to begin working on the things that I began working on. It gave me the confidence to believe in myself and start putting myself forward for things that I might not normally put myself forward for.
Yeah.
So, for example, getting involved with my students' union in college, that, like, deep down, obviously that was who I was, but if I listened to other people, I wouldn't have done it. You know, because obviously people will tell you, no, you shouldn't, or no, you can't, or you're not, you know, you're not this enough, or you're not that enough. You know, being told that you're not enough of something, someone was always going to be telling you that, you know. So, but that doing what I did when I was younger empowered me to do what I'm doing now. Do you know what I mean? Whether that's to lead an organization, and I still get the same crap, the things that people were saying to me when I was 14, 15, 16, people still say that to me now. Do you know what I mean? So I posted literally last week when we saw the riots outside. I was obviously commenting on that because I thought how wrong it was, and obviously we can talk about the events and stuff, but you know, for me, it was really un-Irish for people to be rioting and tearing apart their city. Do you know what I mean? So I was commenting on it, and I had hundreds of people in the comments going, "You're not Irish, you're not this, you're not that, blah blah blah," you know, and you should be ashamed of yourself, saying, you know, telling white Irish people that, you know, that what they're doing is wrong, and blah blah blah, right? But then on the other side, like, I go onto my Instagram and I'd see like black people saying, "Oh, you should call your page biracial and Irish, like, because you don't represent us, la la la." I'm like, okay, do you know what I mean? People are going to tell me whatever, do you know what I mean? And you know, at the end of the day, all of those people are on the sidelines. They're all sitting in seats, and I'm on the pitch, and I'm doing the work that's going to ultimately benefit my kids' life when they're born. Because you know, no matter who I'm with, my children will have dark skin, or darker skin than most. So it's important for me that they're growing up in an Ireland that values them, that treats them equally, that is inclusive towards them. And for me to do that, I need to do that for everyone. You know, I need to do that work that will benefit everyone, you know, if it's going to benefit my kids when they arrive. So, yeah, that's what's given me the platform to say, okay, this is what is going to determine my values. This is what is going to determine the work. This is what's going to determine the work ethic. Yeah, and ultimately fixing those issues that I had internally helped me to help other people externally, you know.
But did you start helping people in the school after you're like knowing yourself better and then like being more, I would say, strong?
Yeah, I don't think I was able to solve my internal issues until college.
Okay.
Really, like, you know, in secondary school, I tried to, like, I get involved with some initiatives, but not to the same extent. Like, not to the point where I'm representing like 13,500 students. You know, that was where I was doing some of my best work, you know. And it was at that point that I had done all of the previous work that we had mentioned. And it was only a year after I left college that I started Black and Irish. You know,
oh yeah,
so
there's not long.
it's only 3 years ago, you know.
Yeah.
So because I was student president for 2 years, I was student president until July of 2019, and then in June of 2020, which is like 11 months later, I had started Black and Irish. So that for me was a big thing. You know, and it was only in college that I gained the confidence and the know how to do these things.
How did you? I don't know how to say this question. I think how did you turn to? How did you become a student president? Is like a vote?
Yeah, to vote. Yeah. So yeah, you need to get voted in by the students.
So like people, even white people, vote for the black
guy.
Yeah. So things have started changing.
I hope so. Yeah. No. So yeah. So like Maynooth is a fantastic place, you know.
Maynooth.
Yeah, Maynooth University.
I worked in Kilcock, like beside.
Oh no way! Yeah.
When I moved to Ireland.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So yeah, in Maynooth, what you need to do is you need to like submit a nomination form. So you need to get people to nominate you to run, and then you would campaign for 2 weeks. So you would like write a manifesto on what you would like to do and how you'd like to work in the student union, what work you'd like to see done on behalf of students as well, not just for the work that you're going to do, but also the other vice presidents. You know, the union as a whole, what is it going to stand for? What's it going to do? So for me, it was that was the work that's what I did. I didn't run for president first. I ran for promotions and events. So just having fun, like, you know, I was out every night, Monday, Tuesday, and Monday. So I counted it up, right? I was out like 5 nights a week. I was out Monday night. Tuesday night I'd go to the Students' Union bar, which is like the local bar on campus. Monday night I'd go to a bar called Mischief, or it was Mantra when I was first in college. Then I changed names a few times. Tuesday Students' Union bar, Wednesday Brady's, Roost on Thursdays. On Friday I'd take a break sometimes. And I'd be I'd be like blanket everything. I'd go back home. So I'd go out 4 times in college, and then I'd go back to Tala at the weekend, and I'd go out in Tala as well. And like they were 2 different worlds. Like the people that you would meet in Maynooth were vastly different to the people that you'd meet in Tala. Like in Maynooth, I was going to college with a lot of people from Dublin and Kildare, but there was people coming from like Monaghan, from Wexford, from Cork, from Galway, from all other parts of Ireland. So I was living in a bubble in Tala, and I was very enclosed in that. Like I only knew Tala people. I barely ever like when we interact with people from other areas, it'd be like, "What are you looking at?" You know, like you'd be aggressive towards them, like, which is it's so silly. Like it's so stupid when you look back on it.
It's a small country.
It's so small.
It's so small country.
It's so crazily small.
And now do you have like like the other neighbor, like don't talk each other because no.
For the crazy shit,
no
like
reason.
it's for no reason at all. Like, do you know what I mean? Because like they're from the country or whatever. Like, you know. So, no, but like, look, overall, that was just me and the environment that I was growing up in. Like, overall, Ireland is a very friendly country. I think you can probably say the same. Most people that you meet are like they're chill, they're cool. You can talk to them, you can have a laugh with them, you can have fun. It's just the 1%, and I think that's the kind of same anywhere. It's the bad people that give the areas the name or the groups a name. You know, so that for me was an eye opener. But yeah, you go out in Maynooth and it was just a completely different crowd of people, and even the music that they listen to is completely different. And then you go to Tala, it's like you know you're in Maynooth and you listen to like country music and like Nathan Carter. And I hated Nathan Carter so much. He was like, I hate his music. You know Wagon Wheel? Have you ever heard of that?
No.
So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. It's a terrible song.
No, I don't know.
I'm very upset with myself for even singing it. I'm very upset. But anyways, you know, so that's the music that you have. And then you go to Tala, it's like, and it's like a completely different vibe, you know. And then you'd go to McDonald's after. Where I went out in Tala was called the Plaza. It was the Plaza Hotel in Tala. I don't know if you know, but
I think I've already passed by.
Maybe, but like it's very, very prominent. It's on the Tala bypass. But there was a nightclub in that hotel in the basement.
Nice.
And like obviously it was fine like most of the time. Like, but then you go to McDonald's and it was like WWE. It was like Royal Rumble. People just find each other, like people just killing each other for no reason. Like, you know, it was a crazy time. That my first year of college was insane. I actually failed my first year in college. Yeah, because I was just like I don't know. I didn't settle at all. I was just every night I was just going out and having fun and socializing and stuff.
Happens.
But yeah, first year was the best 2 years of my life. So college is good though.
Yeah, like I know what you mean. Like living in an environment that don't have like a lot of people like being racist, which are like can be free, you know, and having fun with everyone. So like it's good to enjoy that time,
good.
You know.
Yeah, it's good to enjoy.
Life don't have to be struggle every time, you know.
No, not at all.
But since when you are a writer? Because
a writer?
because you are
about 6 months.
Really?
Oh no, like I think I've always been very good at like writing. Like I wrote one of my earliest memories was writing a poem in 4th class in school, so I was only about 8, and it incorporated like the Irish language and stuff. So I think I always had a proclivity for writing, and I think whenever I write emails, I'm able to get my message across and messages across and stuff like that. Obviously, that's very different to writing a book, but you know, if you look at any of the statements that Black and Irish has put out over the last kind of couple of years, you'll see like I have a style where I'm trying to encapsulate as much as I can in as little words as possible. So, you know, sorry, I'm not only writing 6 months. I'm writing probably for the last year and a bit, because in July of 2022 was when we announced that the book was coming in October of 2023. So we had about 13 months to write. I should have brought it with me.
I would ask what the book is about. Like, is the story are you interviewing?
Yeah, so it's a collection of 25 stories. So like I would sit down and I would talk to people, and then I would write out their story. And I wanted to write it in a way that young people could relate to it, could empathize with it, could understand it. So it was written for people of the age of around 14 and up. You know, so there was some themes that we kind of maybe, I'm going to say, made accessible to 14-year-olds. But by making it accessible to 14-year-olds, you actually make it accessible to everyone that's interested in reading, because adults can pick up the book as well and go, oh, let me read this person's story, let me read that person's story. So it was a lot of interviewing, a lot of writing, you know, out the story. I drafted the introduction and spoke about how, you know, Black people had been present in Ireland for hundreds of years, actually, but a lot of people only see it as something that's quite new. So yeah, like that was interesting. And then and one good thing about the book that we wrote was that we incorporated a lot of other contextual pieces. So we included like a lot of like small boxes that had information on maybe the time that the person was living in, or laws that the person had to follow, or different things like that, you know, or like if the person won a prize, that it outlines what that prize was, and how long it's been going or whatever. So for us, we wanted to get as much impact into this book as possible. It was very important for us that it was illustrated by a Black person. We wanted a Black Irish illustrator because we wanted to get someone who was able to relate and understand to the community. Unfortunately, all Black Irish illustrators were busy at the time, so we ended up finding someone in Nigeria that could draw the pictures in the book.
Nice.
And that's a person called Jessica Louis. And Jessica Louis is one of the best illustrators I've ever seen, because she was able to. She didn't just want to see the pictures of the person. She wanted to see their story. She wanted to. So sometimes we'd be like, look, we need this picture. And she's like, oh, well, I need the story. Okay. But I hadn't written it yet. I was like, just.
So she's creating the illustration based on the story, not on the picture.
Not just on the picture. She uses the picture and she uses the story as well, which was something that was really important for us, because she was able to put in like icons of what the person does. So like if it was a footballer, she'd have them in action playing football. You know, it wasn't just a picture of like a portrait of their face or whatever. So yeah, like that was something that really helped the book. I think something that's very powerful about the book is the colors that we use in it, and that for me, I wanted to evoke a lot of emotion. You know, when people are flicking through it and they're seeing the multiple colors, I wanted it to be vibrant as well, because there's a lot of vibrancy in the Black and Irish community. Like, it's a very colourful community. I know, like, our skin colour can be quite the same, but there's a lot of diversity within the Black and Irish community. There's a lot of intersectionality. We've got people coming from all walks of life, people with different religions, different sexualities, different genders, all the different types of stuff, you know. So we wanted to make sure that was reflected in the book as well. And ultimately, I think we were able to do that quite well. I think because we ended up winning, you know, Book of the Year last week. So yeah, this Wednesday last week we went to the On Post Book of the Year Awards, and we won the best book in our category.
Wow. Were you expecting to receive all these awards?
No, because I didn't write a speech or nothing. You know, and people were going up and they're like, "Oh, I didn't expect this," and they're pulling out sheets of paper and they're reading and stuff like that. And I'm going up and I'm like, I actually didn't expect this. You know, I was just coming for the free dinner.
So how do you see yourself now, like based on your story? Like for a couple of years ago, you are like not like recognizing yourself as a black person because the black person says you're white and the white person says you're black. But you know, and now you're kind of a reference for many people.
That's crazy. I don't think I've wrapped my own head around it yet, because before I had even gotten through the thought that I was an author, I was now an award-winning author, and I was like, this is crazy. This, like, I haven't even finalized the thought of like, you know, it was only when I was holding the book in my hand I was like, oh shit.
I wrote a book.
This is real, like, you know, and like the way that they illustrated it was just like beautiful. And I think we had a person called Niall lay it out for us and illustrate the front cover, which was like, it was just phenomenal. And then obviously Brianna, who is the co-author of the book, she's very focused on like education. She was a teacher. She now does a lot of amazing work focused on educating not just schools kids but everyone. And then our publisher was very focused on making sure that we had an authentic partnership, which is so important. As black people, we can very often have people that just want to work with us to tick a box and say, I worked with someone who's diverse, or I worked with someone who is different to us. Whereas what we want to do is build authentic partnerships so that we are building something of value together, that we're making something that's going to help our community with partners, with other people, you know? So that for me was really important. And I feel like with the likes of Matthew Parkinson Bennett, who runs Little Island Books, and Little Island Books, who is the publisher, we've been able to do that. We've been able to create a book that is, I hope, going to have massive generational impact.
That's amazing. But how is the black community in Ireland? Like, they are unified, or they have some... Because I remember when we talk in the Bobby Data Christianity.
The Christian, yeah.
You say, I remember you said to me, like, there are other activists that you have some, not issues, but some different opinions. Yeah. And they, maybe you are struggling with them less. This happens a lot in the community, or like just a thing, like a different, like, you know, mentality to solve something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So I think it boils back down to how you want to solve problems. Like, there's other people in the community that would be very for, you know, a little bit, I'd say maybe a little bit more radical approach.
You remind me. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, two sides.
You know, and but like they were, and like, you know, Malcolm X for a really long time didn't like Martin Luther King, thought he was, you know, soft and wasn't able to. And I'm sure there's many people that look at me and say he's soft, he's not doing you know, enough, and that's fine. But I'm doing something, and I'm doing it that's in line with the values that I hold. You know, I'm someone that I want to have discourse. I want to have conversation. I'm happy to have debate. I'm happy to sit across opposite a table from you, and for us to not to have the same opinion, and for us to say, okay, well, how are we going to move forward? What's the most pragmatic thing? How are we going to help the most amount of people possible? Because, you know, there was a person that was on our team a little while ago, and we were doing stuff, and there was people that were just like, no matter what we would do, they would just say it's not enough or it's not good enough. And, you know, he went on a podcast and he said, you know, during every revolution, there have been people on the sideline throwing stones. You know, there have been people of every kind of uprising where their own people are like, no, don't do this. Like, this is going to be bad for us. If you do this, it's going to make a whole lot of problems. So there's a lot of people that don't want me to talk. They just want me to get on with life, and they just want me to say, oh, well, like, look, these issues are bad, but it could be worse. Okay. You know, so let's just not rock the boat too much. There's some people like that, and then there's other people that are like, you know, they prescribe to other forms of politics. Okay. That ultimately get like, so for example, there's groups that or people that might believe that we should abolish our police force on Garda Síochána and that we should scrap it and that we should rebuild it. That for me, I think could turn more dangerous than just trying to resolve a lot of the issues that are in our police force now. And like at the end of the day, no matter what type of police force is there, it's going to be made up of the people that are in the country. You know, so it's going to be made up of the similar people that want to police, you know, and stuff like that. So for me, I want to work with people. I want to have the conversation. Whereas there's other people that they may be, they either don't want to talk about it, or they might be, it's a spectrum. You know, it's a spectrum of, and I feel like I'm maybe somewhere in the middle, maybe a little bit, I don't know, left or right. but you know, I want to change. I want to go about making change a positive impact for as many people as possible. And I want to do that by educating people and by having discussion and debate and stuff like that. You know, that's how I want to do it.
Yeah. But like, I think we can agree that from 4 years ago, you became popular. No?
Popular in
like very known person.
Yeah, well, like I was well known within the college because I was.
I was the president. So you're really used to this kind of life, like to be known.
A little bit in the public eye, you know. You know, I don't have paparazzi, you know, outside the door waiting to take a photo or anything yet. No, I'm only asking. But like, you know, like I've been someone that after I kind of got through what I needed to get through, I was happy to put myself forward to start trying to challenge things, you know. There was a lot of my friends that were very unhappy with the Students' Union while I was in college. But they'd never run. They would never say, okay, I'm going to put myself forward, I'm going to make change. You know, for me, it was important that the union was representing the average students, you know, the person that was just getting up, going in, studying, and coming home. I wanted to change how their experience was. I wanted to make sure that they had fun things to do while they were in college. I wanted to make sure that their academic experience was the best that it could be. You know, different things like that. So yeah, when you put yourself out there, when you try and make change, you're going to build a profile. People are going to see you more. People are going to hear from you more. People are going to want to talk to you, or they might not want to talk to you. Or you know, if I was just walking past these people in the street, I'm sure they wouldn't care. But because I'm trying to change things, all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, well, I now have an opinion. Everyone is going to have an opinion, you know.
But yeah. So it's kind of struggling to deal with their opinion, because being like very known now, like people are gonna have some opinions about you that's not true. Of course. How you deal with that? Like,
I think I used to allow it to affect me, but that was me feeding into the old.
Okay.
The old Leon of just wanting everyone to like
accept
me and
the
like
Leon
me
before burn the paper.
Yeah. You know, that was me kind of falling back into some of those traps. You know, like we've got people that will say crazy stuff. You know, we've got people that I've gotten letters saying, Leon, you're causing a genocide of white Irish people. That is factually incorrect. Yeah. I am not killing anybody. You know, I am trying to make the spaces in Ireland more inclusive for people so that we can all have and all live in a better country, you know, where people are more educated, there is less crime, there is higher happiness rates for everyone, not just for a certain amount of people. That's what I'm trying to do. There are people on, you know, or in the black community who will think that I'm only benefiting myself. Like this I can assure you is, I wouldn't say, like I've gotten a lot of experience from Black and Irish. Like I've been able to do some amazing things. I've been able to, you know, travel and speak to different people that I would never have spoken to. I've been able to go to events that I maybe never would have gone to. And people are interested in, you know, working with me that I never imagined would. But at the same time, it is heavy work. I wake up, I think about Black and Irish. I go sleep, I think about Black and Irish. It's all I really can think about a lot of the time. You know, I'm thinking about, like, I've got 15 team members.
15.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
huge.
like, okay, are they okay? Is everyone fine? Are they like, how are their projects going? Is because like there's a lot to do. There is a lot of work that needs to happen in Ireland.
Yeah, you're also an entrepreneur.
You know, so, and then there's a lot of people that want, like, I don't want the opportunities to just be for Black and Irish. So like I do a lot of work with like the likes of Guinness, where we do interviews with people in the creative scene, for example, because we're trying to get their creativity across. We're trying to, you know, build them up and get the work that they're doing mainstreamed, you know. So it's heavy work. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of kind of not just eyes on you. Like at the end of the day, I've got a board of directors that I need to report to. We have the the company's registration office that I need to file with. I've got an accountant that I need to make sure all the numbers are in line with. I've got a team that I need to make sure are, you know, all motivated, happy, doing their work, not facing burnout. I then have projects that we're working on that I need to make sure are going to be delivered on time, that there's going to be, you know, that everything is going to happen. And these aren't projects that are small. You know, these are projects that are a book needs to be delivered because we said we were going to deliver it at this time. This is a podcast that needs episodes to go out. This is a partnership with Guinness that we need to make really strong content for. This is an awards night that's costing tens of thousands of euro that we need to make sure goes off, and that, you know, people, like, we run an awards night that's happening soon, where we celebrate a lot of the Black Irish community. You know, we bring people who are business people, entrepreneurs, people in music, people who do podcasts, people who do activism, education, all the stuff that we do, you know, in Black and Irish. And we say, all right, well, we have a public nominations process, and then we have voting, or we have panels that will select a winner and stuff like that. So for me, it's been great because it's given me a ton of opportunities, but it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's difficult, you know?
Yeah, I would ask, how do you organize your day or your life to do all of the stuff? Because you're also a parent.
I'm not a parent.
No, you don't have a child.
No.
I mean, I
not
confused
yet,
myself
not-
because
not
you said
yet,
something
not
about kids. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But that would be crazy.
Yeah.
That would be crazy if I did.
Because if you were a parent, I would say you're a Superman.
Yeah.
Doing all of this stuff
almost,
and also raising a kid. So
yeah. No, you need to just give up sleep.
Yeah.
You know, and just say, all right, sleep. I don't need 8 hours. You know, so my sister actually had a kid recently. So I'm an uncle now.
Okay. I'm an uncle too. So being an uncle is nice.
You can give them back.
Yeah. I said we get the kid clean and give them back dirty.
Yeah. Exactly. You know, so yeah, that you know, I think is the main thing. A lot of people are able to see the me walking up and collecting the award for the book, or stand there holding the book or walking up on stage and saying welcome to the Black and Irish Gala Awards or whatever, but they don't see the tens of thousands of hours that go in the background, where you're on meetings, like whether that's on meetings until 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. You know, you're on meetings on a Saturday, you're on meetings on a Sunday. There's something every day. Do you know what I mean? There is not a day that goes by that I don't have something that I need to do, or someone that I need to talk to, or something like that. You know, I think this Sunday after the awards, I'm saying to myself, I'm cancelling everything, because there's people that are like, oh, do you want to come to this event, or do you want to go to that? And I'm like, no. you know, I want to lie in bed that day, and I want to watch a movie or something. So yeah, like it's a great opportunity, but it's very, very heavy.
Yeah. So there is a story that is on the book that you can like tell us, like the one or your favorite one, about them, or the most like impressious story in the book. The one like did it really surprise you when you heard it?
My favorite story that I like to talk about is a man named Jude Hughes. So Jude he works in Abbey Street. He owns a tailor shop, and he's 82 years of age, right? So He's been around for a minute. He's been around for a while. And he grew up in an Ireland. He was born in Ireland in like the 40s. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that's good math. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So, he was born in the 40s in Ireland, and grew up in what's called like mother and baby homes or institutions. So, if you were born outside of wedlock in Ireland, prior to like, then I don't know. I need to look up on my history here, but we had institutions in Ireland where women who had kids outside of wedlock were sent to basically work, and the kids were taken off them. And it's a massive scandal. Like it's horrendous what happened to these women. But ultimately, Jude grew up as one of these children, and
I think it's because it's a Catholic country, isn't it? Yeah, because I've been living in Ireland for 6 years already.
Yeah.
But my first 1.5 year was studying English.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the teacher showed us a movie about the sister how
Magdalene Laundries.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy.
That we have a system like this in Ireland. It's insane.
Yeah.
But like this is something like we have a system in Ireland similar. Not similar. It's a different group, but it's the same level of scandal is going to happen, and it's called direct provision. And when direct provision is found out, and it is, the people already know how bad it is. It's how we receive asylum seekers to the country. But I know I'm speaking about Jude's story, but ultimately we've got a system in Ireland that is very, very bad for refugees and asylum seekers, refugees are the same. But it's important that we recognise that if we don't fix this problem now, it's going to be the same as how we viewed the Magdalene Laundries, and that is very problematic. So, for me, just going back to Jude's story, he grew up in an institution. So the people that were looking after him would clock in and they would clock out. He had a very difficult time with like Christian Brothers and stuff like that, who were groups that were looking after him. But Jude is someone who was always, he didn't take crap from anyone. He was really like strong in himself. He learned the trade of tailoring, but one thing that he was always really, or one thing he had a lot of power in doing was advocating for others. And it's someone that I look up to Jude a lot. I respect him a lot. I hope to emulate a lot of the work that he's done in his life, because in the 60s he campaigned alongside like the civil rights movement that was happening in the US. In the 90s he would have campaigned against apartheid South Africa. Now he's campaigning against the situation that's in Israel and Palestine. He does a lot of work. He's 82. He's fitter than me. He plays tennis like every week. It's crazy, And in 1987, he called a group together to talk about having experiences of racism in Wynn's Hotel. It's just on Abbey Street. It's down the road from Irish Life. So he said, okay, on the 15th of September in 1987, everyone who wants to talk about their experiences of racism, go to this hotel, and we'll have a talk about it, right? And when he showed up to the hotel, he couldn't even get in because the door, it was so full. Damn. There were so many people there, so this is someone who's been doing very similar work to what we've been trying to do. But he was doing it in the 80s. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
He formed a group called Harmony that did a lot of work with different community groups. Do you know what I mean? And this is like, it's what I want to do now between Black and Irish and World Black Culture. I want us to be working together a lot. Running a lot of events together. I feel like Black and Irish has a lot of work to do in terms of working with the Afro-Brazilian community and making sure that they feel part of Black and Irish, because you are. Yeah. You are another part of a massive community that's now forming in Ireland. So for me, Jude Hughes is someone that I look up to and I respect a lot, and he's one of my favorite stories in the book.
Wow. Yeah, I say something nice, like being African Brazilian. We have like kind of this very similarities during our the young, like suffering racism or any other kind of preconcept, and a lot of us just came to other countries like to be like I wanna say Be a what? I forgot the name in English. Be out of this kind of environment,
Yeah,
you know, like.
yeah.
And then when we came up here, we face other stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, how you see like the things that happen nowadays in the country, like these anti-immigration movements.
Yeah.
You know, how now you have, in your opinion, like how you have to deal with this?
Yeah.
You know.
So for us, what we're seeing at the moment is it's complex. Now it's complex, but at the same time, it's also simple because ultimately, what is happening if I can try and summarize it, is immigrants are being blamed for problems that are being caused by
The locals.
government policy.
Okay.
And so issues like housing, issues like access to services, it's very difficult to buy a house in Ireland at the moment. It's sometimes very difficult to find a place to rent in Dublin city centre.
Yeah.
You know, obviously you can try and go to neighbouring towns or whatever, but in Dublin at the moment it's very hard, and in Ireland it's very hard to get a house. So a lot of young people are still living with their parents, or they're paying a crazy amount of money on rent. This is not positive for our country at all, you know. And with that, what we're seeing is we have a group in Ireland called the far right, and their objective is to cause hatred and to cause problems for many people. They don't like anyone who is not white. They don't like anyone who is from an LGBTQ plus background. They don't like women. They don't like, you know, so they're going like, as they move through the groups, they'll challenge immigrants. They'll challenge people of different sexualities or different genders, and ultimately, you know, they view women in a very particular way. So they use the issues that the government has caused in order to point the finger of blame at immigrants and refugees. So that's why a lot of anti-refugee and anti-immigrant sentiment has begun. And that's exacerbated when we have incidents like last Thursday where someone who is allegedly from, because nothing has come out about this person yet, from a different kind of background, whether it's ethnicity or nationality or whatever it is, it's pinned on them, and the whole community gets blamed for it, you know. And you know, it's so strange because the incidents of last Thursday were may have been instigated by someone who is from an immigrant background, but the person who saved the day was from an immigrant background. And you know, allegedly the child who is in a critical condition is also from an immigrant background as well. So you know, we had a very bad incident happen last Thursday with kids in a school just up, you know, not far from here. And what happened after that was there was a lot of people that saw this as an opportunity to spread hatred and spread fear throughout Dublin City. And there was people who were calling for men in particular to meet at the Spire at 7 p.m. And they were going to take back our city. And there was slogans going around like, "We are at war," with with the Lewis, with the bus. You know? Yeah. They burned out a Lewis, they burned out a bus. They caused a lot of damage to shops. But ultimately, I see it as there was a small minority of far right people who were trying to cause, who wanted people to get on the street so that they could attack immigrants, right? There was, I'd say, a larger group of people who were very frustrated by the situation that had just happened, and are probably living in a situation where they are frustrated and the blame is being shifted towards immigrants. So they wanted to come out and protest. They didn't want to be violent. They didn't want to attack individual people, and they didn't want to wreck shops, right? But then we had a bigger crowd again who saw, oh, okay, this is an opportunity for me to go and break into Arnott's and rob everything because it's Black Friday tomorrow. So, you know, the shops are going to be stocked. Let me go in, new pair of runners. Now, maybe it's only the left shoe because that's the only one on the wall, but, you know, it is what it is. People broke into McDonald's, they broke into Arnott's, they broke into Essex. And ultimately they were just people that were opportunists. They saw that there was an opportunity to go in. All they wanted to do was destroy the city. They did not care about any of those kids.
Yeah.
They did not care about what had happened. They said to themselves, I am going to cause carnage in here. They burnt out Garda cars. They attacked the police. But ultimately for me, this is a flash in the pan moments. They messed up because they had their opportunity and they blew it. They, instead of, you know, taking back the city, they destroyed the city.
They destroyed the city.
They destroyed the city, right? Rather than, you know, being at war with who, I don't know who they were at war with. They were at war with Essex, and they were at war with McDonald's. Because ultimately, all they did was show us that they don't care about the people that they're proclaiming to want to protect. You know, what is burning out of Lewis going to do in order to keep people safe? It's not going. It's going to make people less safe, because now what you're doing is you are cutting off all the public transport stopped that night.
Yeah.
People had no way to get home. How is that making anyone safe? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, people need to see the situation for what it is. There are people that are coming to this country, whether as economic migrants because they want to change their life, they want to do something different with their life, they want to live somewhere different, or they're coming here as a refugee because they're fleeing war or torture or famine or persecution for whatever, whether it's their religion or sexuality or whatever it is. And they're coming to this country in order to, a lot of them, I'm not going to say every single one of them, because there are going to be people that will cause problems in any group.
Yeah.
But most of the people, 99% of the people, are coming here and they just want to live their life. They just want to live safely. They want their family to be safe. They want to work and contribute to society. They want to help Ireland to become the best country that it can be. And Ireland can be a great country. I think it could be one of the best countries in the world. But at the moment, there are people in it that they don't want that. They want all the refugees to go, they want all the immigrants to go home. What happens if all the immigrants go home?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know how many systems in Ireland would collapse? Our healthcare system would collapse. It would, if every migrant said, all right, I'm going home today and I'm not coming back into work tomorrow. You know what would happen the next day? Every single hospital in the country would shut down.
Yeah.
Every single one. Do you know what I mean? And that is, if that's not screaming at you that we need people to come to our country and for us to welcome them with open arms and say, yes, welcome to Ireland. We are the country of 100,000 welcomes. You are one of us. Come on, let's go and make Ireland the best country it can be. That's what we need to be doing. Do you know what I mean? Rather than burning out a Lewis or robbing a pair of shoes or whatever, saying that we're going to make women and children safe. Like, it's absolute BS.
Yeah. But in your opinion, how the government could start solving these problems? Like,
No, that's the question. Because
You know.
you have to ask the question, do they want to solve the problem?
yeah, because the majority of them are young.
The majority of the government.
No, I mean, the majority of the people that are like doing the bad stuff, they are younger.
Yeah.
And many people say like the government doesn't give them like stuff to do. You know, like sports or
100%. I mean, like, look, I undoubtedly, again, I'm a big advocate for children. I know all of those people were children at one point, and more than likely were failed by the people that should have been there to give them a better quality of life. Do you know what I mean? Making sure that they had appropriate housing or appropriate level of funding in order to, you know, get food for themselves, or an appropriate level of opportunity so that they could get a job and that they could contribute to society. But ultimately, they were shunned, they were disenfranchised, they weren't allowed to fully participate in society, and they've grown up to be people that, you know, this is what they're doing. They're going out and they're wrecking the shop, which ultimately, you know, if you're looking at it on a last kind of year basis, then yeah, like, look, they are the problem at the moment. But if you're looking at it on a 15, 20 year basis, then, you know, a lot of other questions pop up. Why weren't these people given the proper opportunity to really engage with society in a helpful manner? If they're given the opportunity, they will take it. If they're shown the right way, that they will go there. But ultimately, you know, people, and I'm not just saying it's this government. There have been many governments in Ireland, primarily made up of two parties, but at times, a lot of people in our country have been let down. you know, by the people that are meant to try and build our country up. And now we're at a point where we're considered the third richest country in the world. We're seen as a country that has a very high happiness index score. But who are they interviewing for those happiness index scores? And who are the rich people? Do you know what I mean? And what have we gained by getting here? We're now in this position, and what the people are terrified to go into the capital. People don't feel safe.
Yeah.
People feel like they walk around with a target on their back because they have a different skin color. You know, that's no way to live. That's no way for a country to be.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you know, we need a shift in our culture in Ireland in order to go back to or to become the country that we proclaim that we are, and that is the country of 100,000 welcomes. That is the country of siding with the underdog, seeing people that have come from oppressed places and siding with them because we were once oppressed. We have a history of colonialism. We have a history of famine. We have a history of emigration. We can't be turning around to immigrants and saying, no, you're not welcome here. When we went to everywhere in the world, you know, do you know how many Americans claim Irish heritage? Do you know how many people from Australia claim Irish heritage? Like it's crazy that we're now turning around and saying we're not going to welcome people to our country that are trying to make a better life for themselves, because that's exactly what we did.
It's going against their own story.
It's and that's why I said it's un-Irish. It's not the Irish way at all, you know. So that is ultimately where we're at today. I think we need a culture shift. I think we need to start having, you know, courageous conversations and saying, okay, we've got problems in Ireland, but how are we going to deal with it? How are we going to challenge it? How are we going to make things better? Sorry, my headphone's going a little bit.
Yeah, maybe
the aux is going a bit crazy. Let me just twist this and see. Yeah, there we go. We're back. We're live. So that's a little bit about my thoughts on what has happened over the last.
That's cool. Do you think you're gonna get into politics one day?
Maybe in the future. My partner is a little bit more of a politician than I would be. Sometimes I say a little bit too much crazy stuff. You know, that might harm me getting into politics in future. But you
try
know,
to put and maybe it's gonna work.
Yeah. So yeah, that's better. No, I do think that I want to make positive change. I want to make positive change in 3 different areas. I want to make positive change in organizations and in business. I want to make positive change in kind of entertainment and like content creation. Like I want to. I was a big advocate of making people laugh and making people smile and you know, telling jokes and stuff like that when I was younger. So I want to do that as well. And then I want to make change in advocacy. I want to make change in the way we view the world, the way we challenge big world problems. You know, I want to come up with solutions to some of our issues. You know, and I'm trying.
Yeah.
You know, but like over the course of my life, that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to do something in those areas at different points. And if that leads me to politics, well then, you know, it does, and I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. I have no major intention right now, but I'm not going to rule it out, because then someone would just pull up this clip of the podcast and say, well, you said that you weren't, now you're lying. So maybe I will.
Yeah, we never know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Good. Pupili, do you have messages?
Yeah, we have a message here.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you see our message now?
Sorry?
Can we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Let's go. Let's see the message and questions. Let me see. Or if you have any message and questions, send it now, because I'm start reading this. I think I'm talking more about politics with the Irish people than the Brazilians. Like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know you had a presidential race recently.
Pardon?
You had a presidential race in Brazil recently.
Yeah.
Was it Bolsonaro and Lula?
Lula, yeah. It divides the country. Like
Yeah.
since Bolsonaro first tried to run for the presidency, the country was divided.
Yeah.
Like, for left and right, you know. And who are in the middle, like they don't like both sides.
Yeah.
The left side say we are right because I don't like both sides.
Okay.
So the left side says I'm right and the right says I'm left. So
Yeah. You're mixed.
Yeah, mixed.
So basically, left wing hate the right wing,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
both of them hate who's the middle.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's fair enough. Yeah.
Now we have 2 questions here.
Super.
Jeff and Bullet. How do you view the notable growth of native Black Irish individuals?
How do I view the growth of
Yeah.
me? I mean, I think it's a positive for any population to be growing. You know, I think regardless of what population grows in Ireland, like it makes no odds. One thing that I do want to see though is that Irish culture grows. You know, and that we find out a way of solving the issue of not speaking our native Irish tongue, which is Gaeilge. You know, being able to speak a couple of focal, which is a couple of words, as Gaeilge, I don't think is adequate enough. I'd like us to have a good proficiency of Irish language more than it is now. I would like to see us have a culture that is open and welcoming, and you know, that's what I want to. That's what I want to see instilled in people. You know, demographics will change over time, regardless like of who is where. Do you know what I mean? Like if you went back 100,000 years in any country, people looked very different. You know, so for me, it's you know, I don't necessarily. I think diversity is like being gifted a guitar. I just don't think we know how to play it yet. Okay. And I think if we learn how to be inclusive towards anyone, then it won't really matter what population grows in Ireland. I hope all populations grow. Yeah, and that's kind of it.
Cool. Do we have another one here from Jeff in Bullet? Do you believe that people's mentality has changed, or is there still a chance that these young individuals may face similar challenges to those you experienced?
I think the mindset has changed. I think young Black Irish people are more comfortable with identifying as black and Irish. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more over the last 3 years, because we've really been pushing that this is an authentic identity in Ireland, and this is a part of something that's real here. But yeah, maybe more so than when I was younger. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like what happened I went to the 50 Cent concert. I was telling you. Yeah. And I met a black girl. Yeah. And we were talking and she said, and I said like, oh, where are you from? She said, I'm from Nigeria. Yeah. Oh, nice. But how is it? And I started asking things about Nigeria, because when I studied in US, I had one teacher from Nigeria. Wow. And some colleagues there. Cool. From there. Teacher Oimbo. Yeah, Mr. Oimbo. His name, yeah, and then my colleague was Chuka Chris, his name. Okay, yeah. And I talked with some taxi drivers here from Nigeria. I said, no, this is kind of tribes. Yeah, there's some tribes in there. They have this specific names.
Yeah, so Igbo names would have CH a lot, like Chuk and Chibweze and stuff like that. Yeah.
And then I started asking her like, oh, how was your life in Nigeria? No, I born in Cork. But it was funny. But the interesting thing is, he said, "No, I'm from Nigeria. I'm not from Cork." Yeah, you know? Yeah. I think that's.
I mean, some people identify like the thing with me is right. I want people to be comfortable in their identity. I want people to be happy with themselves. That's it. You know, and I know for me and for many others, we want to be able to talk about how we are Black people and we live a Black experience, you know, in Ireland, which is like a Black experience actually around the world is quite common, you know, in terms of some of the issues that you face. But we're also Irish. Do you know what I mean? Like I've got a very strong love for Ireland, for its history, for its culture, for the language, for you know, the euphemisms, for our ability to tell a story, all of these things. Do you know what I mean? These are things that I want us to be able to all feed into and you know, grow. And that's like over the history of Ireland. That's, you know, people have you know been living here, and then people would try and bring in another culture, but the Irish culture would survive and you know would just adopt some of the best bits of their culture, and you know the rest would be essentially history, you know, and that's something that is common to Ireland, is that we make a name for ourselves. No matter what we do, no matter where we go, we often can steal the show, kind of thing, you know. So it's about what I don't want to see happen is that we close off our culture and we say, oh no, Irish culture is for this group alone, and that's it. Because any culture that stays stagnant will die. It will die off eventually. Yeah. You know, whether that's 10 years or 100 years, at some stage it will go. It will die. Because all the people that are gatekeeping it and holding it will pass away eventually. You know, no one's immortal unless you're a vampire or something. But you know, many years on, if you are able to open up a culture and say, yes, we're willing to make ourselves open and accessible and more people to come in, and you can learn some of our language, we'll learn some of yours. Do you know what I mean? And in that way, both cultures will be able to take the best of each other, and they'll both be able to grow, you know. So that for me is something that's really, really important, that we have an open and accessible culture, because that for me I think is the true Irish culture, being someone who is ready to root for an underdog, to bring someone in who might be coming from a difficult situation and say, you're one of us and we're going to look after you. That for me is true Irish culture. Being able to tell a story, you know, to have a laugh, you know, that's what we're all about. And if we're able to open up ourselves and say and invite other cultures to come in and do that with us, the Irish culture will only grow tenfold, more than it already has.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have just one more message here.
Super.
Por tuas viagens. Hey, my friends, regards from Portugal.
Ooh.
Yeah, Iran, he's a friend from Portugal.
Very good.
Yeah. Leon, we don't have any questions anymore. Is there any question that I didn't ask you, but you would like to answer?
Any questions that
questions that I didn't do, but you would like to answer?
Oh, God.
That question is always tricky.
Yeah. How did you find the 50 Cent concert?
The best one. I've been to the Snoop Dogg, the Chris Brown, but 50 Cent was
the best.
It was the best.
Yeah.
Because I was a dancer a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
so
good.
I didn't expect to see that B-boys.
Yeah.
In his show. Because I've been following 50. He's my favorite rapper. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah. No,
so I've been following since I was 12, maybe, when I started watching MTV and other clips like Candy Shop or I was Candy Shop. No, not PNP, but the one he was with Eminem. Which one?
It's your birthday in the club.
Yeah, in the club.
Yeah.
I think In the Club was the first one. So since then I've been following him. And I really like him as an entrepreneur, as a musician, and everything.
Yeah.
And then when I saw his concert, like
it's insane, isn't it?
It's
so
insane.
Good.
Like, cause I was a dancer, and in a concert, like changing clothes, you know, like almost for every song.
Every couple of songs he had a different outfit on.
Yeah.
Like, it was really, really cool. Like
he was like worried about any details, like the hat, the shoes, the hat, the pants.
Yeah.
Perfect.
There was one part that I was a little bit kind of skeptical about.
Which one?
When he was flying.
Oh, yeah, it was amazing.
I was like, 50 Cent, what the fuck are you doing? He was up in the sky and he had his hands out like he was like Jesus or something. I'm like, bro, no, what are you doing? But it was funny, like, you know,
and then this next song, like, I don't know what you heard about it. Doesn't make sense.
Makes
like
no sense.
A black man flying there. What you heard about? Oh, man.
No, but it was amazing. Like, the production was fantastic.
Yes.
Busta Rhymes is a bit crazy.
I didn't see the Busta Rhymes. I didn't know about it.
Because no, Busta Rhymes is mad.
I didn't know that he would start they make an introduction after the show.
Yeah.
Because in the 3 Arena, the main show started at 9.
Yes.
So I got that at 8.
Oh.
And I saw the big line and then I went to eat. So I stayed the whole Busta Rhymes performance eating.
Oh no! Busta Rhymes was crazy.
I love him.
Yeah, no, it was a crazy performance. But like, 50 Cent, like, to be doing what he's doing like so long. I think it was 20 years since he released his album.
Yeah.
To be doing that whole time is insane. And like the amount of people that were there and that were even younger.
Yeah.
That were like, you know, they weren't even born when he was releasing that album. You know?
That's right.
It's crazy, you know, and for them to be, you know, born now and going and enjoying the concert was just mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leon Diop.
Yes.
Did I say right?
You said
yeah.
it perfectly.
Leon Diop.
Yeah.
What is life?
What is life?
Yeah, that's the last question.
Life is an experience. You know, life is just a journey. I feel like the universe created us humans so that it could just think about itself, you know, and it could just experience life and feel things and, you know, have different experiences. So, you know, life is an experience. It's a journey, and how you want to spend it is how you want to spend it, you know. For me, it's about helping others to just live life too. It's just about having a good time. And for others, that might be completely different. It might be traveling the world and seeing as many places as possible. It might be, you know, learning sport and living that sport and doing that for your whole life, you know. Or for others, it might be a business. But for me, it's just about making change and making positive change. So that's what life is about for me.
Perfect. Amazing. Nice one, isn't it?
Perfect.
Leon, thank you so
Thank
much,
you so much
bro.
for having me.
Thank you so much. I
Absolute
want you to
pleasure.
come back many times.
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure.
We're going to do more of
Absolutely,
this.
yeah.
This first episode is just to know each other then.
Oh, yeah.
And then on the next one, we like work more in the subjects and other
Oh, for
stuff
sure,
and bring
yeah.
other people, you know.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I'm trying to be a regular here, you know.
Yeah, thanks
For
so
sure.
much. Thanks so much. Did you like Popili?
I love it. I just love it. Oh, every single episode that I keep quiet, I'm
Yeah.
always learning. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't said like one word the entire episode. So
So, man, thank you so much, man. Thank
Thanks.
you so much again. And Popili?
thank you, man. Leon, thank you so much. It
Yeah.
was a pleasure to have you here today.
Can I do some shout outs?
Of course.
Okay, shout out World Black Culture. Love you guys. So Bob, Mariana, Lais, Daniel.
Danielle.
There's a ton of great people working with you. And I'm really, really excited to work more with you over the course of the next few years. Shout out my fiance. Shout out my family. Shout out my 2 pugs. I've got 2 dogs.
Oh, really? I have one.
Oreo and Rollo. They're 2 pugs.
nice.
Yeah, I met your dog. Yeah, your dog's so cool.
Oh, yeah, sausage.
Yeah, sausage. Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, shout out my dogs, man. Yeah, and again, just shout out to you. Thank you so much for having me
so
on. I
much.
really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
Nice. I'm glad to hear that. So I would like to thank one more time our sponsor, Fato Pervoy. More information about it, like you can see on the description of this video. And yeah, thank you so much again, dude.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank you
Thanks so much.
Pupilin, thank you very much. And see you tomorrow. Tomorrow you're going to receive the Brazilian hero that he just, I cannot,
100%.
he just avoided like a tragic thing that happened last week. And
He did more than that. He did more because you know everyone was you know pointing fingers at immigrants and saying they're the problem, but he was a hero that day in more than just one way. I'm gonna get emotional now, but like you know I'd love to meet that man and shake his hand because he's an absolute legend for what he did.
Oh, if you are around tomorrow, so you can come.
Yeah, I might
I'll let
actually drop
you
by
in.
and say hello. Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
same time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, tomorrow we're gonna have Caio Benicio here, the Brazilian hero, the immigrant hero. So see you tomorrow. So thank you so much, everyone, to follow us until here. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel, to turn on the notifications and like this video. So that's it. See you tomorrow. That was Talkeando Podcast. Faith in God and until.